Hey, David here, back at the chess club. Daylight savings time was last week, so it's almost sundown. I have less time to do coaching. It's a bar mitzvah at the downtown synagogue. Antoine Knox, he came to the chess club a few times. He didn't take chess that seriously, so I'm not quite sure if he even picked up the rules, but he came here a few times. Good kid, her mother, grandmother, good family. So I'm not sure if I'm going to make it to that. But I thought we had a packed week. We had the news story, and so we got a whole bunch of new kids, we're in the news, and a lot of new recruits, new people wanting to learn the game. So we got, some of I'm trying to get, usually the girls are more helpful, but the more experienced players, just trying to get them to teach the new kids. And, so generally the girls are more helpful in that manner. They're willing to help out the newer kids. And the museum here is having some sort of big event coming up, gala. So it's packed this week. So I thought I'd ramble about the multiple truth hypothesis. I guess Claire Call had reached out to me and asked me to stream about the multiple truth hypothesis. And I told her, I didn't think her channel was serious enough where people would take the multiple. Hey, Simon, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I didn't think her channel was serious enough. People would. Hey, good to see you, my friend.
Yeah. How you feeling today?
Excellent. Yeah, I didn't think people would take it serious enough on her channel. I thought it'd be better for a public study session, so I started preparing for a public study session on the multiple truth hypothesis. And it's semi-related to chess coaching. I found a few different venues for the theory of the multiple truth hypothesis. One of them comes from, so here we got our Channel 7, local Channel 7 that's doing a story this week, and so we're just packed here. A whole bunch of new kids trying to learn the game. If the kids are more serious, I'll sit with them and teach them. But generally they do better to learn from kids their own age, and when they get more serious about the game, to learn more strategy, then I'll sit with them. So the more serious kids, I'll sit with them, and because it's hard to sit and be lectured about how to play chess from Reb Duvid. The better students, you take chess very seriously, will sit with me. But your average student that's too intense. So we have our stronger students, regular students. We got them helping the newer students. So I divided up. I'm probably going to do a series of 3 streams on the multiple truth hypothesis. And it appears that actually no one has used this label multiple truth hypothesis. So there's the multiverse and background. I'm going to put in 3 separate elements. I'll put a psychological, one second. You a chess player?
Yeah.
Your first time here?
No.
Oh, Dominic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, so the first part is kind of based on the theory of cognitive dissonance. And so I'm going to go over the history of cognitive dissonance, what it is, and the understanding of this kind of concept that I've talked quite a bit about on Church of Entropy, about dissonance, where you have a high functioning rules of how we understand the world, and we use that to try to decipher all the data that's taken into our head, and then you have a dissonance when the way we see the world doesn't match with sense perception. So the multiple truth concept could be so it's part of it's related to dissonance, part of it's related to quantum physics, the Copenhagen interpretation, the multiverse quantum physics, where you have a concepts of the electron, where is the electron, and you say it's a probability curve where the particle, when you try to measure it, it affects the data. So before you measure it, where exactly is the particle? And the idea is that where the particle is actually a probability curve, and it's just has a certain likelihood of being in various places, and certain places might be substantially likely, other places very unlikely. and they have Schrodinger's wave equation, if anyone's familiar with the physics, that will express the likelihood. So, and then there's the concept of the multiverse, where in our understanding of physics, there has to be a particle that's in a given place at a given time, which from a greater understanding of physics, that's probably not actually how reality works. So you have these complicated concepts of multiverse, multiple universe, and probability functions. So that's one of the cognitive dissonance, the Schrodinger's wave equation of particle physics, quantum physics, and then you'll have a philosophical background of what's the philosophy of truth. How do you know what truth is? Is there really such a thing as one singular truth? And can we get to it? And then there's the new science, which is kind of like truth is a probability function for...
older children that can help them.
Okay. Yeah, one second. So just let them play a little bit, then I'll try to find someone. Okay, yeah, so we got a lot of new kids here, so I got to try to convince the older kids and more experienced players to help out the newer ones. And sometimes they're not so fun. They just want to, advance to the game. And so the top players just play each other again and again and aren't so interested in, I do this more as a good deed, trying to just help out people. So most of what I do is teaching the game over and over again. So then there's also this metadata search program where you have, there's what I talked about, Kuhn and the structure of scientific revolutions, and Popper, and getting to truth, working with multiple theories, and there is research on that. I found in like geology some papers that has something like the multiple hypothesis in geology going back 100 years, where there were multiple different theories when Darwin's theory first started becoming popular, and where you're trying to discover the truth working with multiple different theories. And so we'll go over that and some of the philosophy, like what is truth, and then the computer search programs where you're searching through the internet and you have data and you try to create metadata, you try to decipher the truth, and you realize that there's different sources that have different data, and what's the truth. And so you have these computer algorithms that will try to create some sort of truth function, like a value. So you'll have certain sources that will have a value for how good is their data, and then you'll have a weighting, and you basically, what they'll come up with is a truth function, where different sites are rated on their reliability, and then you have your probability that things are true. So from the artificial intelligence algorithms, like on any aspects like history, and even things that you would think would be like factual, like who's the mayor, who different who are the names, who are the accurate people, and it's actually very difficult to decipher. So there's some papers on these new artificial intelligence algorithms and truth functions. So those are the three aspects I'm going to review to give myself a precursor to put forth my multiple truth hypothesis. I'm going to review the quantum physics, multiverse, and Schrodinger's wave equation. I'm going to review cognitive dissonance theory, and I'm going to review the latest data in computer science and truth functions, and I'll also cover some of the basic philosophical precursors, and you'll maybe review some of the stuff I'd done in another channel before about the philosophy of science. So you're looking good. Programs in full tech. We got a whole bunch of new recruits. In the younger age, we get about half women, half men, and as it becomes older, chess becomes almost all men. But to the younger age, it's about even. So, Simek, this is Detroit here, and chess is extremely popular. And we're being going to put in the news story, and they give us a space right here in the museum, and we get the smartest kids in Detroit. They come in. Last week we had the lieutenant governor brought his kids here to learn how to play chess. So new recruits. So I'm going to get back to coaching. I just wanted to document my ideas and document how crowded and packed it is this week. So a lot of work, a lot of new recruits. So take care, everyone. Have a good week.